Over the last several videos, I've talked about the stages of thought leadership and what's required to move through them. Today, I want to talk about the third stage, which is momentum. Oh my gosh, this is a stage that so many authors and speakers dream of getting to, because for the first time, there's all this inbound activity, like your audience is promoting your book for you, sending you opportunities, keynote invitations from out of the blue, or that invitation to be a guest on that high profile podcast. You're like, what? It's me? Yes. There's more opportunities than ever before, but there's also more decisions to be made. And that's because momentum is the most complex stage yet. So there's more if this then that scenarios. And so you've got opportunity on the one hand, but a lot of confusion on the other hand in terms of how to move through this stage. And if there's one thing to know that will help you get to the other side of momentum versus going down the path to burnout, is actually going to be summed up in one word. And that word is recalibration. Recalibration of your efforts and recalibration of how you apply your strategies. So let's take the first piece, recalibration of effort. And I'll set some context here, because like starting in the first stage, all of your effort is going to positioning, shaping your message, understanding your audience so that you're ready to take the message out into the public. And then in a second stage, building, you're still refining that positioning, but you're doing all this effort to establish your thought leader platform. So establishing your content strategy, establishing your speaker platform, establishing strategic relationships. So what does recalibration look like in momentum? Well, let's use strategic relationships as an example. In building, all of that effort is going to open doors to relationships with new individuals and groups. But in momentum, it's shifting that balance between creating new connections and developing existing ones. So what does this look like? Well, let's say that you had an opportunity to do a Q&A with an industry association and it goes well. Well, this very industry association likely has multiple content channels and multiple opportunities throughout the year to share value with their members. And so if it went really well and they really liked you, it's so much easier to ask the question, how can we play together next, versus trying to do all the work to open up a door that's not open yet. And not only that, that industry association, that audience already knows about you. So the next time they hear your message, they're more receptive. And as a result, that one event is exponentially more impactful. So that's what recalibration of effort can look like. Now let's look about recalibration of approach. And let's look at your marketing strategies. So in building, for example, you're working to establish your platform. And when it comes to your strategies, you're having to do some like controlled experiments to see what works and what doesn't. Now, I don't mean that you're throwing spaghetti against the wall, but as you're getting to know your audience, you're identifying what resonates with them as what works for you as the creator of the various strategies. So let's take content, for example. In building, you're testing out the various content mediums to see what works, like written content, video, infographics, and more, to see what resonates and to see what you actually enjoy doing. But by the time you get to momentum, you've received a lot of feedback from your audience. You know, you have a good pulse on what they want, and you're also clear on which content strategies are the best use of your gifts, skills, and talents. So instead of applying broad brushstrokes and creating like 10 content pieces a month, you dial back and say, let me use a laser and create 5 content pieces that are highly focused and make the most of those. Well, automatically you've got time saved, and then you can like reinvest some of that time to increase the amplification and engagement for each of those pieces. So not only have you saved time, but you have a much greater impact from fewer content pieces. So those are 2 examples of recalibration and what's required to get through momentum. But as with the other stages, momentum is really complex and there are some hidden pitfalls. So next time, I'm going to highlight 2 of the biggest pitfalls in momentum that even the most experienced thought leaders can fall into. Stay tuned for the next video.